Hello, good morning. Welcome to Sports Today. Exciting morning if you're an Argentina fan. Argentina have defeated Brazil 1-0 in the final of the Copa America to become champions of South America for the 15th time. And this, of course, has also ended Lionel Messi's drought of international titles. This is the first major international title that Lionel Messi has won with a senior Argentinian team. He's such a legend of the game, isn't he? And we were just discussing that on Sports Today last night in our preview to the Copa America final. Uh, Cristiano Ronaldo won the Euro in 2016. Of course, before that, Lionel Messi had the chance to lift the World Cup with Argentina in 2014. Wasn't to be. And this was Lionel Messi's moment of reckoning. Two of the greatest players, two of the greatest footballers of this era, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, now both have won international title each. Of course, Portugal, the defending champions of Euro, the European Championships, were knocked out. Uh, but then Lionel Messi's Argentina, they were just brilliant. Now, before we come to Brazil, before we come to the heartbreak, there was tears of joy for Argentina, tears of despair for Brazil. You saw Neymar walking off the pitch. Well, he was crying. He was emotional. Brazil arguably were the best team in this tournament, but Lionel Messi, by far the best player, won the best player of the tournament, and was of course also rewarded for being the top scorer, as was Martinez for being the best goalkeeper of the tournament. I have with me nice and early Chinmoy Roy, who's of course who was glued into the action. Chinmoy, I know you're also waiting to watch Argentina pick up the trophy, while Brazil, of course, are being given the runners-up medals. But what a moment this is! But before we come to Messi and the rest of Argentina and the heartbreak for Brazil, just think of that moment for Di Maria, that winner in the 22nd minute. He scored early, opened it up nicely, and of course, Messi could have made it 2-0. He just slipped on the ball, and that was his. What a moment that would have been if he scored right at that moment towards the closing stages, and made it 2-0 for Argentina. But a word on Di Maria, he's just going to be elated and pumped to have contributed this way for the Argentinians.
I fully agree with you, Rajashri. The fact that Di Maria is the unsung hero. There was a
Hmm.
lot of criticism, the flack that Scaloni took. Why Di Maria? Because he was considered as a spent force in the team. But even in the semi-final, this is the man. Really, we are really. Of course, Messi is the world's best, but I think Di Maria is the person who changed the fortune. They were 1-0 down against Colombia. The man came in, and I was surprised why he wasn't in the first 11, because we all know that the Argentina and the South Americans are, I mean, they play brilliant individual football. They have got that fame, that, I mean, the individual brilliance, and Maria brought that in. Di Maria, amazing in the semi-final. And you talk about this today also. I think before he was replaced, the way he played, I think it's not Messi today. I think he was the man who made the difference. The slip between the cup and the lip, I think this Di Maria made it possible that, yes, the trophy ultimately, what we can see now, is the hand of Lionel Messi. He scripted this, I think, Di Maria.
And he was rightly adjudged the man of the match as well, Di Maria. But
Absolutely.
Lionel
Absolutely.
Messi was the player of the tournament by far, the best player in the tournament. He scored goals. He's also the top goal scorer of the Copa America 2021, and he was also involved in a few assists as well. I think he was scored as many goals as he scored, helped in assists. But a moment to cherish for him. You saw off the pitch, he was emotional, tears of joy. On the other hand, Brazil were despaired. But when Lionel Messi went to pick those two trophies, you saw the Argentinian team dancing behind it. They were jumping with joy, and you could see that Argentina feels this for Messi. It's almost like they've won this for Lionel Messi. Akshay Arora is saying the debate is over. Messi is the greatest. Well, that debate I think will continue at least till the 2022 World Cup. And is it also about just winning trophies? But now both Ronaldo and Messi, they have a title each.
Right.
The biggest titles of their continent. But Chinmay, what a moment this is for Lionel Messi.
Uh,
International
uh,
drought over
Leo,
15 titles now for Argentina.
Argentina. Exactly. Now, that Lionel Scaloni also said that whether Argentina lifts the trophy or not, Messi remains one of the greatest. He didn't say the greatest, one of the greatest footballer of the history of the game of football. Now, today, really, I think if you talk about today's match, Brazil was really they played better. Okay, Brazil really, because the whole thing, what I find is that Argentina was based on an counter-attacking football, right? And you can see the difference between Spain and this Argentina style is that Spain is very slow to build up. Argentina, once they get the ball, they're very quick. So they base the counter-attacking football. Now, for Messi, as you said, coming to Messi, he's the man who's, I mean, he was the architect, both scoring 4 goals and 5 assists. He's the man. And now, Argentina, for me today, if you talk about the game, there's Lionel Scaloni. I think we could debate when he took out Romero from the defense, because he was the pillar in the defense with Otamendi. Had it gone against it, I mean, had they equalized, I think he would have been crucified, because Romero played very well today. But then you see some of the coaches' decision. If it works, it looks like a magic, and if you
Right.
fail, it looks like a blunder. So
Right.
Argentina basically criticized for their weak defense today. Just held their fort. Montiello, Romero, Otamendi, but that the other guy in the right back, I think that Acuna, he played very well today. And of course, I think one more answer, DePaul. He was really, really, I think he was the DePaul was the person who put that forward pass to Di Maria, and there was a major lapse in the Brazilian defense. It was awful defending, but then that great pass, and eventually you need a very icy cool head. What Di Maria did to put it in the back of the net, I must appreciate the way Neymar played. He tried his best. There is no denying in it. The only thing was that he couldn't open up the mouth of the goal. Right? You
Right.
cannot say. Had Messi put that one in the 80th minute, it would have been the icing on the cake. What I feel.
That,
What is your take
yeah.
on that?
I just, I was just, I wanted those two moments. I thought I really, so amazed at what Neymar was able to do on the field today.
Right.
I also thought Brazil was a better team. I'll just get the stats for you. And that Messi moment, right? That would have been the icing on the cake. We keep talking about magic realism in Argentina and that Argentinian feel. Imagine what a moment that
Right.
would have been. Argentina standing in Brazil, and of course, it wasn't fully packed. There was only about 10 or 15% of the stadium capacity that was allowed, and Messi would have signed off on that note. And it was just a bit of an anticlimax, just that fall and Lionel Messi getting that, almost getting it past, and he just tripped at the last moment. It was just not a reflection of the way Lionel Messi played on the tournament, of course, but that's the irony of sports, Chinmoy. You suddenly look at all the big players. There are so many memories. You look back at the 2011 World Cup, Sachin Tendulkar didn't get too many runs. It was a young Virat Kohli who played that crucial knock along with Mahendra Singh Dhoni, of course, and Gautam Gambhir. They got the big ones there. So these things happen, but you understand that this is all impossible because of Lionel Messi. His goal scoring, his assists, his leadership, his huge presence in that team. It's just that iconic stature of Lionel Messi. Short man in height, but he's just growing in stature by the minute. And now, because we were talking about Brazil and how impressive they really were in this match, and you feel bad for the Brazilians, for Brazil fans, and for Neymar in particular. Of course, Gabriel Jesus didn't play this game after that suspension. Didn't play the final. But here's a quick look at the stats there. Shots. Brazil took 13 to Argentina 6. Shots on target, both teams had 2. Ball possession. Again, there Brazil were dominant, 60% to Argentina's 40%. 488 passes to 345 passes for Argentina. Pass accuracy was 86% for Brazil, 78% for Argentina. There were, of course, plenty of fouls. It was a bit of a scratchy game. You could see that 22 fouls for Brazil, 19 for Argentina, 4 yellow cards for Brazil, 5 for Argentina. Thankfully, no red cards. So there you have the stats there. It was, I know we were discussing this yesterday. It's not only about numbers. It's not only about stats. The England-Denmark game was a reflection of that. England had better ball position. They had better pass accuracy. They were more accurate. But then Denmark had that one goal before that own goal really ruined the chances. This game here, Argentina versus Brazil. We were expecting a bit of a game like this, weren't we, Chinmoy? We discussed this yesterday, and we were talking about how it couldn't be a high-scoring game. how you wouldn't see that level of fluency anymore in South American football. You haven't seen that for a while, apart from a few games from Uruguay, Chile, and Colombia sometimes. But with Argentina and Brazil, you wouldn't expect that. Brazil very very strong in defense, and tonight Argentina have their all the questions over the defense, and all of that were answered. So it was more or less in line with what we'd expected this match to pan out. 1-0 for Argentina.
That's the irony of the fact. Everyone rated Brazil's defense very strong, and that was a major lapse, which allowed because he could have cleared the ball.
Yeah.
And even Thiago Silva was there beside him, but that was a major lapse. And whereas Argentina is concerned, there was a huge question mark on their defense. Even I was really, I had heart in my mouth, really, the way they were defending. Okay, Neymar was trying all his best, but Paqueta, he was one of the favorites. I mean, yesterday Suman was talking very highly of him, but then some of the players cannot rise to the occasion when the big stage comes into play. So that was one thing. Now here I would suggest that I was watching the strategy. Right now, Argentina, this midfield of DePaul, then Celso, they were playing deep because we all knew that the Argentinian defense is very weak. So they were playing from deep, and they based on counter attacking football. So whenever Argentina went up front, you can see the surge. Whereas in case of Brazil, when they came, they were crowding up the goal mouth. They're crowding on the goal mouth. And I find that the goal that was cancelled, that was a unique case of refereeing, adjudication, and even the VAR. Yesterday we were talking about that semblance of doubt left there. Now that even here, I thought it is a goal, but what outstanding officiating! So that differentiate, had that goal stood, now it would have been 1-1. I think it would have been very difficult for Argentina to hold on to Brazil. Yeah. Very difficult. The morale would have been shattered. Now here, Scaloni, I think, in strategy scored ahead. Argentina plays 4-3-3, which is obviously very attacking style of football, where Brazil plays 4-2-3-1. Now here, today, instead of going into attack, he knew that if he goes into attack with Messi and Di Maria, what will happen is that it will leave a huge hole in the midfield. So out and out, as you said, the possession of the ball went to Brazil more. But whenever Argentina was in attack, you can see they look dangerous. And there are two left-footed players. One is Di Maria and one is Messi, both on the right flank. Now they call it an inverted winger, where previously the left-footed player will play on the left wing, right-footed on the right wing. Now it is reversed. Left-footed players on the right wing. So Di Maria, Messi on the same side. I felt that Scaloni kept it because the chemistry is very good between them, and because the other guy, Martinez, is very inexperienced. So he kept both of them very close together. Now we come to Brazil, the big guns. For example, in the midfield, we all spoke on the Firmino came in later on. But I talk about the midfield, Fred. He didn't do well. Paqueta, right? So he was hailed highly. So these players let Brazil down, whereas Neymar tried his best. One has to understand Neymar. We could see the kind of desperation from him. He wanted to rise to the occasion. He came deep inside and took the ball and went ahead. So I think there was no lack of effort from Neymar. But as I said, when he I tell you the exact time, it was 73rd, 75th. See, the game opened up on 73rd to 75th minute because Brazil made a change, double change, and Romero for Argentina and Di Maria was out. So at that point in time, had it gone against, because Di Maria was withdrawn. One thing we must remember, you keep Messi there, there is a threat. So you keep one man there. So once Di Maria was taken off, I also thought that why easy? Because whenever Argentina goes up front, Di Maria and Messi looks threatening. Now, had that failed against, say, it would have gone very against Scaloni. So, but then some days you win, some days you lose, and you can see the emotions running very high. I was really emotional, and I could see this blue I am wearing. After 1993, the trophy drought, it has ended. And the way these Argentines were dancing, I think after 90 minutes of game, how much energy is left in them. They look to be really childs, Messi especially, but really, he deserves it.
No, absolutely. Messi deserves it. It has been his tournament. Like we said, he was a player of the tournament, the top goal scorer, just an entire team man. And you could see how Argentina, how happy they were for him. Just to put this in perspective, Chinmoy, Argentina, like you said, won this last in 1993. Lionel Messi was only 7 years old when that happened, and now he is the greatest footballer in the world alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. I will always use that. I will always use that comparison, that level alongside Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. Now, within 5 years of that Euro Championship for Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi has that as well. So absolutely hats off to Argentina, Lionel Messi. He'll be very, very, very pleased with it. But before we
If
go,
you
also a
allow
word
me,
on Brazil. Yeah,
if you
yeah,
allow me to interrupt, I have always found that the Copa America doesn't get the same limelight, same attention as Euro. Now, Messi playing, Neymar playing, that put the attention back on Copa. Otherwise, you can see it was really taking backstage. I mean, see, we were all covering Euro, but the Copa was also going on. So
yeah.
Copa is now here. One has to understand this. There is a point here. A lot of the talent pool comes from there in EPL everywhere. I mean, it's Serie A everywhere, Spain, La Liga. But then the market, it's dictated, dominated by the money. You see, the Latin American clubs doesn't have the money, but the nursery of football is there. Now, once this European Cup goes into play, these teams have, these clubs have enormous money. So the television coverage and everything, you find the Euro takes the center stage. Now, I find, though it's very late, we are focused on Copa America and the class of football, the standard of football, the quality, the individual brilliance is far more. You will acknowledge that in this
I completely
Euro Cup.
agree. I completely agree. But the other point also is, it's also about where you are in the world and how you're tuned into the clocks of South America.
Right.
It's almost about a massive difference, right? It's Sunday morning here, and the it's started early Sunday morning at 5:30, and that's how the matches have panned out, right? About a 12 or 14 hour difference. That's also, I think, that's also one of the reasons. By the time people wake up to the results, the Copa America action is already done, and with the
Yeah.
European Championship, it's much easier to watch that action live in normal time. You started with a game at 9:30, and then the finals and the other games started at 12:30. So that gives people more time to watch that. But of course, I'm sure football buffs like us, we followed the Copa America right through, and we've been endeavored. In fact, if you go to India.in, we've definitely covered a lot of the Copa America, and this is also a start. This is how we're planning to do that on Sports Today as well. That's what we plan across the spheres, right? You've been involved with that, Chinmay. We're covering sports from across the spheres, and this Copa America final is a definite start. And this class of football that we got to witness at the Macarena Stadium. But also, what did Brazil there, Chinmay? Tite, he was less rigid, you thought, today with Roberto Firmino coming in, and of course, you also got to feel for Richard Lizard there. There were, what did you make of Tite's coaching there? What did you make of Tite, the way he handled and managed that team there? He wanted to let Neymar express himself more on the field before we go. He took, you have to give credit to him. We've known that he's a little rigid. He's very, he doesn't really go out of the box that he has made for himself. But today he was a little more creative and gave Neymar that much more freedom. But it obviously didn't quite pay off.
I agree. He gave Neymar a lot of freedom because Neymar and Messi are the guys who floats around. You can't really have anything that you play in this zone. Fine. Now you will see the modern generation, the current modern football. Previously, the traditional way the ball goes to the wings, and they used to open it up from the wings, right? Because once you spread the game, it is easier because there is saying that if you want to break the wall, you break it from the sides, brick by brick. You can't break a wall from the center. So that was the previous concept, that the ball comes from the wing where Pakueta and all these guys who are playing. That has been that they let it down. And you can see at the end, they were all going through the center. They were floating the ball in the center. Only Neymar was trying to go individually, right, with his brilliance. So I think as a very senior coach, Tite could have spread the game, could have put it through the flanks. There, I think his substitutions begs a question. And the second thing is that I would suggest, it's my way of looking at Casemiro, the big guns, Casemiro and especially Casemiro, even Fred, they didn't lend the support to Neymar, right? It seemed, I see, in case of Messi, that's what I say, the half his loads were taken off by Di Maria. See, we all, from the semi-final, I was stunned why this man was not there. We talk about Messi, right? But Di Maria, the way individually he was taking the ball away in the semi-final, and here he was no less. So Neymar didn't get that support. Messi got that support from the semi-final, and that's why they pulled up the game. See, that was a great pass from De Paul, fine, but he put it in the back of the net. What icy cool head Di Maria had. Okay, last match, Martinez. Yeah, tell me.
Well, no, please go on, please go on. I was just wanting to say that this
So
is
I think
problem with Brazil. Yeah,
Brazil, there is no doubt. As a team, they're way ahead. Okay, player to player, you pick it up, they're far ahead of Argentina. But then, in some of the days, I think in some of the days you hold forth, and that's the reason because they got that one goal lead. Had it been a goalless and Brazil was coming hammer and tongs against them, it would have been very difficult. So that one goal cushion, I think, made the whole difference, and that's the reason why Di Maria was the man of the final. That's what I think.
absolutely.
And
And
one more thing, we shouldn't take away Martinez in the goal, that Aston Villa guy of, because there was a ferocious goal bound shot that was Richard Listen, and that is 54th minute.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
saved by Martinez, reflex save. So we shouldn't take away all these small things because the goalkeepers are often overshadowed. This guy Martinez saved them against Colombia in the semi-final. So Argentina, bits and pieces in the team, but sometimes the bits and pieces been, I mean, navigated by that man Messi wins you title. And the last thing I wanted to say, when Messi missed that goal, it reminded me one thing. There was English press used to say that Maradona at times had got leg of the god, but hands of the god and leg of clay. Okay, so leg of clay. Messi also is a human being. Okay, he's not a machine. He will also make error. That was a golden opportunity. That shows that even the even the god, the world's greatest footballer, are a human being. So the game is a great
absolutely,
leveler.
absolutely. That's what I said. That's the irony of sports that you would have expected. Since Di Maria scored, maybe Messi, what was the 88th or 89th minute, wasn't to be. And you're so right because and so much happened, by the way. So much action happened around the 20 or 21st, 22nd minute, leading to that goal. That really set it up for Argentina. And you're right. Brazil were really aggressive. They were really hammering down the pitch and breaching the Argentinian defense there. And they showed that prowess, that prowling nature of the Brazilian attackers. That was very evident. I'd also feel for Richarlison there, right at the end, that you thought he leveled there with an opportunistic rebound, but it wasn't to be. But just absolute enthralling football there. We've talked about it. It wasn't exactly the sort of fluency that you'd expect out of two South American giants, but then that's the way their football has panned out. We weren't expecting this to be a high scoring game or high scoring penalty shootout. But yes, it could have been so much more intense and so much more tense if Di Maria hadn't really sealed it with that 22nd minute, what eventually turned out to be the winner for Argentina. Well, Chinmay, now you've seen Argentina lift that trophy in peace. Maybe you can go get some peace or train, go to your academy and train, and then of course brace for more action-packed evening there. The Wimbledon final there, of course, and then the European 2020 final between Italy and England. Two really good teams. Italy have been unbeaten for 32, 33 teams, 32, 33 games there, and England have just been phenomenal. They have really impressed. Whether you are an England fan or not, whether you like the Three Lions or not, they were fined. Of course, they were imposed a hefty fine for that laser controversy around Casper Michael. There's going to be some bit there as well. Yes, Chetman.
I will finish off with one word.
Yeah,
I'll finish off. There is a great God up. And so it also thought that this guy, Leo Messi, should get one trophy. Maradona got it in 1986. This is a very nice guy, no controversy. And so the justice has been done. The great God thought that one of the God of football should get one gift. So it has come, Copa.
absolutely. This tournament belonged to Lionel Messi, like we said, goals, assists, and that leadership and that presence in Argentina. And Argentina did it for him. Lionel Messi has done it for Argentina. He could have got another goal. He could have scored in the final. Wasn't to be. Just tripped to the last minute. But that's, like I said, the irony of sports. It happens. It happens in sports. And that was probably also one of the moments that will be remembered in this final of the Copa America. when you talk about it down the years, down generations, talking of one of the greatest footballers to lift this title and how he could not score. He, of course, had the opportunity, but just missed that by a whisker. But all's well that ends well for Lionel Messi in Argentina. They are the champions of South America for the 15th time, drawing level with Uruguay. Copa America 2021 winners Argentina. Heartbreak there for Brazil, but Lionel Messi taking home all the laurels. Top scorer, the best player, and of course, the champion of Copa America 2021. We'll be back with you in a few hours, of course, to build up on the Wimbledon final, to build up on the European 2021, 2020 final between Italy and England. We'll figure out how England stand against Italy and how strong and resolute the Italians have been. Who is this European title going to go to? We'll figure all of that out. But right now, it's time for Argentinian and Lionel Messi fans to celebrate and enjoy your Sunday morning. Thank you so much. And do subscribe to Sports Today and keep supporting us on this platform. Have a very good weekend.